Afternoon, everybody. Getting another video in as promised before I go work for 10 hours. It's about noon, but it'll be a couple hours before I get this up because I film it and I have to edit it on breaks, and YouTube messes with me and tries to not let me monetize it, and then I gotta fight it, and maybe I win, maybe I don't. I try really hard not to curse, so you can tell the algorithm just doesn't like what I have to say. I'm not status quo-y. I mention it in the descriptions all the time, but the reality is YouTube isn't what it used to be. It really hasn't been for some years now, since the initial adpocalypse a few years ago. I'm going to pontificate on this for a minute, so bear with me. I do have a topic to talk about, but I want to get this out before I lose my train of thought on it, because I'm an INFJ, which is relevant to the topic too. But ad revenue is extremely slashed for two reasons. The obvious one is they're promoting corporate channels who toe the status quo, neoliberal, Reaganite, Clintonite line, depending on what side of the spectrum you fall on. But whether you're right or left, you still must abide by whatever the establishment is. And while I'm on the left, I am no fan of neoliberal corporatism, no fan of Clintonism, and therefore no fan of Biden, who is a good old boy, New Deal, or not New Deal, sorry, Democratic leadership, DLC, Clintonite New Democrat, a rehabilitated Delaware Dixiecrat rehabilitated by Obama to get that oh so precious white male baby boomer vote, hail to the kings, or so they claim. But there's another reason for that more recently, and it does have to do with Biden. That's why I brought them up. Since the pandemic, or because of the pandemic, people had to seek alternate means of revenue because we laid everybody off and then didn't pay them like every other Western country did. Fortunately for me, that didn't affect me at the time. I was, a firefighter EMT, so I was actually on the front lines of that. And then right at the thick of it in September, I was wrongfully dismissed in greater DC, where there was like really strict restrictions and no jobs to be had, and I lost my apartment because I didn't get that like $11,000 in backed unemployment that I was entitled to. Yes, pay into the system since you're 15, finally need to use it. Oh, no. Boomers first, as with everything. So, part of the whole corporatism in YouTube is because they don't want younger people being able to make an alternative source of revenue. They want you doing jobs for low wages that you can't even afford an apartment on, slaving away, serving the boomer masters, such as waiting tables, cutting grass, things the boomers want you to do very cheap, because they have to save as much of their millions as possible to pass down to their descendants, and thus proliferate the continuation of the neoliberal corporatist status quo through the Good Old Boys Club. Now, on to my topic after 3 minutes of rambling, but I got it out of the way early this time. Dark sides of a Sigma male, something I'm very familiar with, being a Sigma male and having a dark side. I do practice black magic after all. So, what are the traits of the dark side of the Sigma male? One, and some of these overlap with being an INFJ, as being Sigma and an INFJ often overlap, but not always. We all know, Sigmas are becoming more and more known about, as opposed to the alpha, I'm the king, I'm the greatest, everybody, I'm the greatest because I say so. And the beta who's like, yes, dear, yes, sir, sorry, sir, do that, sir. That was an impression of somebody I went to the fire academy with. You all don't know who it is, unless you're somebody from Arlington County who watches my videos, because you know that I haven't completely gone away, and I know you watch. So, but one, we pretend like you don't exist. Same as an INFJ door slam, in essence. You Sigmas, male or female, INFJ or not, don't handle betrayal well. You betray us, you're dead to us. We just pretend like you don't exist. Depending on what it is, we'll seek vengeance too. Other factors come into play there. Two, I have a list. Two, we use silence as a weapon. Being that the vast majority of Sigmas are introverts, we can use silence as a weapon. We have this aura of mysterious mystique about us. We don't open up very easily, so therefore when we're in a group setting, which can often be uncomfortable for us, we're probably the one in the group that people know the least about. So our silence and our constant observation, working that ever so powerful intuition, can be intimidating to people because it's like, what does he notice? What pieces of puzzle is he putting together? And also being silent, it's like, why is he not talking? What is he plotting? And we don't have any ammo to use against him. Yes, very mysterious. You see this in fiction with INFJ characters constantly. 3, we can make cold and calculated decisions. Now, while also being an INFJ, while I'm also INFJ, in addition to being a Sigma and also an empath, I can at times make cold and calculating decisions. Sigmas at times, in dark times, can be somewhat Machiavellian and pragmatic when need be, when fighting for a cause they believe in, and knowing that sacrifices have to be made, when to expose people, how to do it, exposing collaborators, things of that nature. So we know when to hit, how to calculate, when we can essentially shut off our emotions, at least for a short period of time. It's like, you're a scumbag. I don't care why you're a scumbag, you're a scumbag. And it's time everybody knows it. So something of that nature. Here's a scary one. So our subconscious can subtly manipulate people at times without us knowing it. Now, this isn't like for personal gain like narcs do, but Sigmas, by and large, are anti-status quo, very revolutionary, big fans of change. We're usually intelligent and usually well-educated and well-read. So what they mean by this is like, we'll fan the flames for change. Like we'll spark rebellion, like unionizing a workplace, for example. We'll start talking about it, say like, hey, you're being screwed. This is what you would make here. This is how much they're screwing you. And this is a discrepancy in pay. And this is why they don't want you to have this. This is what the bosses are getting. And this is what you should be getting, but they're hoarding it. That kind of thing. So we can subconsciously get people riled up. Oftentimes we're just trying to win a debate at the time, particularly if it's political. We're just trying to educate someone who all they know about, say, politics is from MSNBC, CNN, and Fox News, the approved stuff. And oftentimes we'll drop truth bombs, and that can get people riled up and angry, and sometimes, coups ensue. Successful or unsuccessful, depends on the situation, depends on how well planned it is, depends on who's leading it. And if there's a breakneck change where the hero gets vilified like that. Been there. I can go from hero to zero faster than anyone. All right. Next one is, we take extreme measures to accomplish our goals. So what's ever important to a Sigma, which is not fitting in and not groupthink and not approval of others beyond perhaps whoever we're in love with, whatever our goals are, we'll push ourselves to extremes to do it. And in this state of mind, we can seem almost manic. This is why Sigmas a lot of times can be thought to be bipolar and tested for it, like I was tested multiple times. But we can be in like a manic state, and in this manic state, we can isolate ourselves even more, forget to do things like eating. I often go through stages like that, which comes in handy with my current, side job of modeling, not eating. Kind of need to be in one of those stages now. My six-pack's getting kind of faint in this, stressful moving and new job and dealing with an estate and my brother's bullshit thing. Things have been a little lacking. I need to get back into a routine, but my work schedule often requires me to work from like noon to 11 and then be back at like 9 in the morning, which kind of makes the gym impossible. And I digress, I'll find a way, but my six-pack's getting faint, which leads me into the next thing. Sigmas, in their dark state, are dangerously hard on ourselves. we we're our own worst enemy, and no matter what we do, we don't ever think that we're doing enough, and we should be pushing harder, and we'll push ourselves like into the danger zone. And this will be with other people around us telling us that, but they'll be like, bah, they're weak. They're fine with, being content in the status quo. The only way I'll be free is to push harder, and if that means more pain, so be it. That kind of thing. We're the hardest on ourselves more than anyone else. And the big one. Once you wrong a Sigma, we never forget and we never truly forgive. There's no coming back from that. Trust is hard for us. Very hard. Very hard. So once someone has earned our trust and then betrays us, there's no coming back from that. Another overlap with INFJ, but it's simply the reality of the situation. There's no excuse that can make up for that. And especially we don't want to hear the platitude-y, status quo-y ones like, oh, but I was drunk, or, oh, I didn't mean it, or, oh, it just happened. It's like, no, things don't just happen. And in this too, I'll add a little bonus one. I did a video on this topic in itself. Sigmas struggle with the idea of free will, of whether we very much believe in free will, but because of our introverted nature and our usual lack of connections, we wonder if free will is even a thing, or if everything's predestined, because we almost at a lot of times feel like we're constantly fighting against a predestined fate, trying to escape it. I know I am. I know I have been for a long time, since 2006. But that's something else we often struggle with. And we'll almost go through bouts of depression where we feel like everything's hopeless, because we'll push ourselves in the danger zone, do everything we've been told to do and more, push ourselves so far out of our comfort zone, especially with having to be extroverted, and yet nothing changes. And then we wonder as if anything can make it change, or has it all been predetermined based on, well, who do you know? Who are you related to? Are you in the club? You set fire to the club more than once. No. Okay, things of that nature. So I hope that was insightful for anybody who is a Sigma, male or female, or anybody who's trying to get to know a Sigma and get into our inner circle. Very exclusive. So, and money and connections don't help. It's all about who you are, your integrity, your personality, what you're about, how honest you are, that kind of thing. So don't name drop. We don't care. I don't care. Is this, well, one name, I don't know. But jokes aside. So I hope that was helpful. Like and subscribe if you haven't. Subscribing is free, and it kind of forces YouTube to like semi-promote me once in a while. Donate to the channel in the links in the about section if you can, or send a super thanks if the channel's been helpful. I'm gonna try to keep doing videos. My schedule's kind of hectic, and it'd be nice to make a little gas money off of this stuff. All right.